Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. This is Dave Johnson. I am channeling the man in the moon today. I'm going to talk a little bit about learning to channel at the end of this video, so just stay tuned to the end. If you want to learn how to channel, I'm going to tell you how to do it pretty much on your own. The main point today is, of course, Venezuela, an oil tanker that has just been requisitioned, shall we say, by the Trump administration. I'm just curious as what's going on there, and I did a little reading about it before, but I think it merits a new one. By the way, if you are a Democratic politician, let's get with the program. I want to see you guys out there in the streets making a big deal out of what could be a very dangerous situation. Make your political hay now. Now is the time. Even Rand Paul's going to stand next to you guys. TikTok. Let's get on the money here. Stop being so tepid. So let's take a look at Venezuela and the United States and the tanker. Hmm. It's like first of all, a laughing Trump, and he's sort of laughing like a madman, like he's gone crazy, sort of. And I really am getting like a detachment, just a detachment from reality. But also, he kind of looks slack-jawed, so he goes from looking crazy to looking like someone who's just not altogether there, someone who has, Alzheimer's, is kind of checking out. So I kind of feel like that's his consciousness now. Half the time he is not aware of what he's doing, and when he is aware, it is kind of the lowest common denominator of his thinking. People around him in the Oval Office, for example, are very concerned. And people like Kristi Noem, they're concerned for themselves. They're like, what's going to happen when he's gone? There's not going to be anybody to protect me. And they're just very, very worried. Yeah, they're very worried. Some of them because they believe in this program and they want it to continue, and they can see that this is going to sink the party, the Republican Party. There's a lot of people talking behind the scenes, trying to figure out what is to be done. And they kind of look at me and go, it's a month and a half. Like there's not that much, do we wait it out and wait for him to pass? And also, in the meantime, what can we do to prop this situation up, but manage it and keep it under control? I'm getting a lot of shaking heads. No way are we doing this. No way are we doing this war with Venezuela. We got to work behind the scenes. This is Republican people. We are working behind the scenes to make sure that this doesn't happen. We have no appetite for this. And it's kind of like, hey, we've not really had a war in our hemisphere. And I know the hemispheres are divided like this, but I'm looking at this kind of North South America hemisphere, and they're like, the idea of doing this is completely nuts. When I say we've never had a war, the U.S. has been involved in South America, of course, but an all-out war, never. I Again, we could look at El Salvador, but a kind of all-out, full, not guerrilla war. They don't know where this would end. It is just a complete unknown, and what are the benefits? Yeah, there. Even Kristi Noem is shaking her head. No way are we doing that. Yeah, they're just thinking about justifications for doing it. All right, let's look at. I'm gonna just getting the impression from Venezuelan side, right? So I'm seeing Maduro smoke a cigarette, and cigarettes always mean bad habits to me. So he's smoking the cigarette, and he's sort of sitting in an easy chair, almost like typical suburban person watching TV. But it's gotten his attention. It's funny because it's almost like he's kind of lazy, like he's just like, yeah, whatever. I don't really care about this, or no big deal. It's like he's sort of shell shocked. Okay, I'm seeing a tank. But part of the problem is that he's not really prepared for a naval war. Like, there's no way that he could really legitimately fight such a battle. So his battle is going to be public opinion. His battle is just going to be to wait. He has people whispering in his ear, telling him what's really going on in the United States. Some of the things that I've told you about the Oval Office, he is aware of. He shows me his watch, TikTok. It's just a question of time and waiting this stuff out. And sort of, in some ways, it's good for him. You know, he looks like the victim. He can rally people around him because they are indeed getting attacked and having things stolen from them. People do not view the people in the boats as criminals. They think of them as potentially just regular people. They don't know one way or another for a fact, right? Who do you trust in such a situation? Regardless, they are their people, and it's not right for a foreign country to decide their guilt or innocence without a trial. So he's smiling. It's good for Maduro that Trump is acting this way. It makes him look like the dictator instead of Venezuela. He went back to his cigarette again. Oh, yeah, the habit. This is just a habit. This is the habit of dictators. This is how dictators accrue power. They make themselves look like the victims. They make themselves look like the person of the people, right? He is absolutely over the moon about this situation. It will ensure that he gets reelected. You know, it just always reminds me, all a dictator needs is another dictator, right? These extremists are the ones who create wars. It's not the regular people in the middle. They are the enemy, right? Trump's enemies are the regular American people who would be reasonable and peaceful. And that is the same for Venezuela, Maduro. It's always the case that these extremists are actually working together, ensuring their re-elections. So Maduro goes out onto a hill. He's watching the oceans. It's really foggy. But as the oceans lift, he's just noticing how many ships there are out there. And it's kind of like this, nah, we can spare a few. You know, if they kill my people, that's just going to benefit me. You know, he would have to respond to an all-out war. But he's pretty clear that the United States isn't going to do that. The less retaliation he does, the better. Again, it makes him look like the peaceful one. Yeah, all Trump is doing is ensuring his power. So he doesn't need to do anything. It's good for him. The thing that is really going to save us again is those people around Trump who realize that this is the worst thing that you can do. You're making him look good, and you're making us look violent, and you're bringing us closer to a situation that is not predictable. We don't know what'll happen. People have sympathy for Venezuela now. Even Kristi Noem, one of my least favorite people, is shaking her head. No, we are not going to go to war. All right. Who else will speak up and tell me whether we're going to actually have a war or not? I'm seeing Dan Goldman, much respect, Dan. Um, he is saying no. I am seeing him actually get together with a group of senators to stand up and say, I don't agree with Rand Paul, but usually, but in this case, we do. A bunch of people, maybe they will listen to us and take a stand. It's easy to take a stand on this one. They're sort of Dan Goldman is, and again, this might literally be him, or it might be symbolic of that energy of, when Democrats take power, that he's saying, look, we're going to form a line here on the Capitol steps and really come forward and say no, give the ship back. Yeah, they're demanding the return of the ship. I think that it will happen, but it won't happen right away. It'll take a few months to negotiate this. Maybe a month and a half to negotiate it, to get it back to, what are they going to do with all the guys on the ship? I'm assuming they're all men. What are we going to do with those guys? Imprison them? Because, you know, that's a war crime. Mm. Let's see. Anything else here? So, one thing is that I'm seeing an array of light. Remember that in order for there to be light, there is darkness too. So as we go through these events, there is a shadow, and then there's something that comes up to react to it. Sometimes people really don't have anything to say, or they don't have any reason to stand up unless something's going on that's wrong. So keep in mind, while this might stress you out and make you worried, there is a greater purpose, and that greater purpose is so that we can respond to it. I am always shown this. The response must be peaceful. There's no good getting in arguments with your relatives and friends about this. There's no point in being too shrill. It's not necessarily helpful, but it is helpful to stand together and act in a peaceful way, and to say, no, no, we will not enact the powers of war, which is up to Congress to do, and they would be responsible for it, which is another reason that I think that they will stop this. They don't want to be put in a position of saying no to war if they support the Republican Party, and they certainly don't want to be in a position to say yes. So they really, really, really want this to go away. And there are some people on the left and right who will stand up and say, it's not even going to come to a War Powers Act. That's just not going to happen. We're putting our foot down here. It's interesting, too. This is part of a transition. This is the change that we are awaiting. This is the thing that a lot of people, right and left, are going to say no to. All right, so for those of you interested in learning how to channel, you don't necessarily need to pay me. You can, if you like, make an appointment. If that's not available to you, it is totally possible to learn how to do this. One thing I would suggest is go back to my videos and see where I did stuff that's wrong, right? So I really made these videos to try to show people me learning how to do this. I knew in the beginning I would make many mistakes, and I certainly did. Only the thing I would focus on is, what's Spirit saying? What images is it showing Dave? And how does he misinterpret them, or how does he interpret them correctly? What I notice sometimes if I look at these videos, I'm totally off. The message is right, but I'm asking the wrong question. They're showing me images of an airplane from Saudi Arabia. I was like, Trump's going to escape? What's going on? Actually, it's kind of true that he did escape. It's more symbolic, and he did eventually get a plane. So just sort of see where I mess up. The other thing is, the principles of channeling are simple. You must be safe, and you must feel safe. So if you encounter any kind of spirit that seems at all unpleasant, If you don't like it or it's neutral, just say no thank you and move on to something that does feel pleasant. The important point is that shadowy forces, they'll never fool you, right? You will always feel it if you check in your heart. If it's a good thing and you're feeling uncomfortable, it'll come back some other time. There are a bunch of principles that you can look at in my videos which teach you how to use a double pyramid for protection and safety, and take a look at those if you want. Everyone can channel, and you don't need to spend a fortune learning how to do this. You do need to follow the principles of being safe, feeling safe, and checking out any energy and making sure it resonates with your heart. If you do those things, you're going to do fine. One other thing is, don't identify with the channel. You are a host. You choose what comes in and what goes out. It is up to you. You have the integrity of your body. You must not give that up for a spirit, right? That spirit is only a messenger, and you can translate that message. After that spirit is done, you are not the spirit anymore. You're just Dave Johnson, who makes mistakes and can be wrong all the time, right? Follow these principles. Now is a great time to learn how to channel, because everything is shifting and you don't have to learn how to channel so you can get your own YouTube channel. You could do it just for bits and pieces of information, give yourself another sort of layer of understanding. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.